Hi everyone, welcome to week number two of 2021. Hope everyone is doing great. I'm doing great. We're super busy, of course, which is great. Even though the market has taken a turn for the worst and crypto catastrophe is upon us. No, I'm joking. I'm being a little dramatic. But it's interesting to see, right? The market has retraced. It is retracing, even though minor, like relative to how it's been growing, it's only like a minor retracement, like 180 billion in crypto. So yeah, no, like it's a big move, but nothing to be too concerned about. I think in the long term, obviously, generally you shouldn't be concerned about anything that happens in crypto, because the nature is such that you should be willing to lose whatever, right? That's one of the basis rules. You should be willing to lose whatever you put in, because it's a volatile market, it's a new market, it's investing, it's trading. So the nature is such that you should be willing to lose what you put in. At the moment, we're at 34K. That's like an 8K difference from the 42 top. Or no, we didn't reach 42. We almost reached it. But yeah, like that's a significant drop, right? And there's going to be a court case about Tether, which people are scared about, not necessarily because they need to be scared about it at all. But the theme and the FUD surrounding Tether has been playing for a long time in the crypto community. And there are some individuals who like to make it bigger than it is, so they can get engagement and they can get clicks, and people click on their content, and because they like to be in the center of attention, all anonymously, by the way. Well, everyone fudding about Tether, they're mostly anonymous, and they are tweeting from anonymous accounts, and Bitfinex is too. It's interesting, and it's good to see the perspective. At the moment, Tether has a $20 billion market cap, USDT. If you dive into it, you see that the specific court case, it's in regards to a specific amount. It's under specific circumstances. So it's not the attack of the stablecoin as a whole or their infrastructure. It's referring to a specific incident, which obviously I'm not going to get into now. You can read all about it yourself. It's just good to be aware why this is happening in the market at this moment. One, because we shot from 19K to 40, almost 42, like 100% rise in a little over 3 weeks, which is obviously crazy. But yeah, this crypto, so that can happen, but it's going to have to retrace at some point, right? Even if this is the stampede, the institutional stampede, where all these big companies are getting FOMO and seeing this price of Bitcoin just, increasing, getting bigger and bigger, and they're getting no breathing space to accumulate, in these dips. Now, obviously, that opportunity will be nourished, but they're not getting lots of opportunity to buy the dips because it just keeps on growing. That might have instilled a sense of FOMO in institutional investors and anyone with cash reserves, which they could potentially allocate towards Bitcoin. So you got BTC going almost up to 42K, and then a natural retracement, which should occur, which didn't happen for a very long time. People were tweeting about, if it stays at 40K again, I'm going to lose my mind. But yeah, it's normal. Then we're going to have the Lunar New Year sell-off, which historically takes place, towards the end of January and the beginning of February. Because the Chinese community, they go back to celebrate, they go back to their families to celebrate Lunar New Year, and they sell crypto, they sell their BTC. BTC is a huge market, obviously, whatever you make yourself believe, it's huge over there, and there's definitely going to be volatility in the market. It might be a psychological anticipation over there in Asia and the Pan-Asian sphere that crypto takes a deep dive in January because of the Lunar New Year celebration. So that's another reason that we're going to see some volatility in January as well. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like, on the one hand, I wouldn't be surprised if these dips are bought by institutional like by institutions, because they're, they have this lingering FOMO of wanting to get in on this incredible Bitcoin asset, and they're like, oh God, there's not there's not a whole lot around. Michael Saylor's bought like 5 or 10% of it, whatever, crazy amount. I think he has. If you head over to, let's see if I can find it, Bitcoin Treasury. Yeah, that's pretty interesting site, bitcointreasuries.org. You can see which which non-Bitcoin company has allocated funds there. So let's see. Yeah, Michael Saylor got a total of 70k BTC. He bought for 1 billion, invested 1.1 billion. That's worth now 2.4 billion. Obviously, we're going to get into some volatile markets, and it will take some deep dives. But the next down is Galaxy, and Galaxy has like tenfold. He has tenfold of what Galaxy has in Bitcoin allocation. So he's like super bullish, and he has literally the most Bitcoin allocated from his cash reserves. Took the 650 million in cash. In notes. Loan notes to allocate that towards Bitcoin as well. Super bullish, but it's just an interesting gimmick to see. ETH has also taken a dive, right? The entire market's taken a dive, and people are generally like, okay, you're going to see people start posting about, oh, this is the end of crypto. That was the bull market. But if anything, I would say markets are cyclical, and this is definitely, if you have long-term conviction, this is a time to stay calm and to soak up all the information that you see along the Twitter sphere and LinkedIn sphere. And always just keep in the back of your mind, if crypto really were to die right now, and let's say we retrace to 20K, and that's the end of BTC, of crypto, why do you think all these hedge funds and venture capitalists have decided to allocate a part of their portfolio or their entire portfolio towards BTC and crypto, right? Wouldn't make much sense. People with a lot of money are not going to take such a big gamble on this asset dying this quickly. All these companies, all these projects building in the space, they're not going to allocate their personal time working day and night to build a product into a space which is going to die so quickly and so easily. It just doesn't make sense, So keep that in mind when all these FUD theories will be popping up. We're only at the 11th of January, so there's a long way ahead towards the end of January, and I'm expecting to see a lot of volatility. I'm not a trader, and I don't really care really what happens in the market. Obviously, I care. I don't like any huge FUD. I don't like huge hacks or any huge significant events. But up until now, things have been super bullish. Things have been super bullish. So I'm very curious what the future is going to hold. I'm ignoring the price swings, and I just like to read about who's building in the space and who's continuing to, make some bold moves in the space. That being said, I know, after having talked about bold moves in the space, let me just grab something. Because obviously, the biggest, boldest mover in the space is Gate.io. Now, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but we are most definitely an exchange, you want to keep an eye on. We're taking a dip. There's some market relief. There's some Tether FUD. There's going to be Lunar New Year sell-off. There's me turning off my notifications. Take a look at Ethereum. Take this time to do some research. Take this time to look into what Ethereum really is. You probably don't. You probably haven't allocated any time into how Bitcoin works or how Ethereum works. Maybe you have. Don't mean to offend, but this is definitely a time to do some more reading. What about all these Ethereum killers? What are they offering? Solana, DOT, power chain, side chains. How do they Quark chain? How do they intend to take on scalability, solve the scalability issue? Do some reading. Read about why Ethereum is the biggest in the the ecosystem and what could potentially beat them, what could match them, you know. This is all everything's great, right? It goes up, you may profit, it's great. It goes down, you have more time to read about what you want to invest in. It's all great. At this point in time, like Chris Berniski pointed out in his tweet, you're not early, but you're not late either. So no worries there. There is plenty of time to read about the market and to do some due diligence into what you're investing. GateChain. All right, before we start anything else, next week, I promise, next week, Spiros GateChain CM. Next week, I'm going to invite Spiros here to the live stream. I'm going to invite him here, and we are going to talk about what GateChain is, what GateChain does, what it's good for, because there's information about the recap of 2020, what we intend to do for 2021, and now is a good time to talk about it. There was a new cover token after the exploit on Gate.io. The exploit took place. Grab Finance re-exploited the exploit, got the funds back for the users after they burnt and sold some, or burnt all of it, sold some, returned the funds to the user, to Cover Protocol itself. Let's see. So we've upgraded our VIP program. There are more benefits now for more users. You can use Gate.io points for more discounts. We are going to allocate the DIA airdrop to DIA holders, and we have a new version of the iOS app for Gate.io, the test flight app. What else? That's the most thing. Yeah, a really significant thing is that we offer the highest yields of most mainstream exchanges, where we can confidently say that we are outperforming other exchanges when it comes to trading fees, and to rates. Let me just grab that for you for a sec, and then we can talk about it shortly. So, whoops, nope, don't want that. Yeah, if you take all our products, 1 inch, Kusama, .trx, EOS. By the way, Dan Larimer left EOS for any EOS holders. Not sure why, not sure of any of the context, but it's significant nonetheless because he's no longer part of the team, obviously. And he's one of the biggest drivers behind this multi-billion-dollar funded project. So yeah, that's something to pay attention to. We have the highest annualized rate of return for the following products, right? Tezos, which we listed the first of all exchanges, Tezos XTZ ticker. VeChain, Algorand, EOS, TRX Tron, DOT for Polkadot, Kusama, and 1 inch. So of all these products I just mentioned, we are offering the highest annualized return. And that's definitely something you want to check out, right? Because why not? If the neighboring exchange is offering better returns, why not head over there? Because there are more returns to be had, and you're losing out by having your funds on other exchanges. Definitely, there are exchanges which outperform us on some metrics as well. Truth be told, we can't excel at everything. We can't be the winners at everything, but these are definite projects where you can get your, you can get more bang for your buck. I hate that expression, but it's the clearest expression I can use. 18. I have no idea what 18 is referring to. Sorry, my friend. If anyone has any questions, let me know. I see at this moment it's not super busy in the chat. People are preoccupied, probably trying to save these losses, right? Because everyone's invested, seeing the market crashing, and everyone is trying to sell off or trying to battle FOMO, doing research. Don't want to listen to some fuzzy old community manager about what's happening in the market. They're like, oh my God, you got to save my funds, which are now allocated in some crazy DeFi staking yield farming project. I was farming yield, and now I'm just farming losses. So yeah, very, very interesting times. I think everyone, be it that you started in 2017, or maybe you just joined us in 2019, right? Or you're a 2013 OG and a 2015 mediocre OG. Everyone was expecting a retrace, and I think it's gonna keep on dipping. I'd be very surprised if it, lifts off again. I'm sure the dips are going to be bought, but I think generally there's going to be a lot of selling going on. Yeah, this is definitely going to influence alt markets as well. So make sure that you're just aware of what's happening in the market. That this is not an instance of BTC retracing and altcoins taking off. If you see that BTC is retracing down to 30, 25K, but the Bitcoin dominance percentage is staying the same and is not changing, so it's staying around the 70% mark, that means your alts are dipping as well. This may seem like common sense. Let me see. Yeah, so it's 69%, right? Bitcoin dominance. If you see BTC dipping, Bitcoin dominance staying the same, you're losing money. You're losing funds. If you have a low time preference and you don't care what happens to these funds, then you're fine. Then all you have to do is outweigh the game and just see what happens in the future with your calculated bet for crypto. Yeah, what else to say? Ethereum, did we talk about that? Ethereum is up $1,000.52 from an all-time 1,300, not an all-time high. I was pointed out to that by a user. A user pointed out justly that the previous all-time high was about 1445. So we posted that 1,300 was an all-time high. It wasn't. It's a new, a new barrier that was broken, but it's dipped down again back to almost $1,000. Yeah, maybe it's time. Ignore. Maybe it's time for you guys to do some thinking about how you're going to allocate your portfolio, right? So the good news is, if you were anticipating what's happening at the moment in the crypto sphere, then you are pretty sure that this is not going to affect you long term, right? Because markets are cyclical. We had the 2017 mega pump and then the 3-year bull market. Now there are all kinds of bullish indicators for us to see that crypto is going to take off again. We are in a definite bull trend. Hi team. And we're going to see a retrace, and we're seeing a retracement at this moment. I see that all of a sudden a lot of people have joined the chat. Thanks so much, guys, for joining. Going to work on that notification a little bit because I've been talking for about 20 minutes. We talked about a lot of cool stuff. For people who have just joined, we're talking about how Bitcoin is dipping at the moment due to perhaps a little bit of tether FUD about the court cases, which is going to take place on the 15th. Which Bitfinex and their parties are very well prepared for. They're saying, they're very well prepared for what's going to happen. That's not in regard to the entire stablecoin market, and definitely not in regard to USDT as a stablecoin market. It's in regard to a specific incident. But people are scared of it, so they're selling off. It's such an intricate market, right? So you got Asia, and you got Europe, and then you got the United States, and all these markets are intertwined, and they react and respond to each other. There's the African market, a little bit of an Indian market as well, which has influence on the crypto. But I definitely would say Asia, Europe, and the States are the biggest players when it comes to big market moves. And then obviously towards, and I like repeating this a lot of times, just so you're not caught up with any, nasty surprises, thinking, this is just a temporary dip. This is a temporary dip, and we're going to see some huge gains after this. Please be reminded that the Lunar New Year, I think it's from the 1st of February until the Lunar New Year celebration for China. When is it? Friday, 12th of February, right? Okay, cool. So I think the celebration starts a week and a half before. the first 2 weeks of February, there's going to be some mega Bitcoin sell-off. And part of that might start now. People who are traders, I'm not a trader, but people who want to play with the market and think, you know what, I'm not going to sit on my hands and do nothing. I want to try and get double my Bitcoin, double my Ethereum portfolio allocation. I want to double my entire portfolio. I'm going to risk it because it's a risk, right? If you're going to sell now, anticipating that the market's going to deep dive, but actually it doesn't because institutional investors are just buying these dips, and it's, it dives to 35, goes up to 40, dives to 33, goes up to 45, then you're a little bit screwed. You're going to have to buy back more expensive. But yeah, that doesn't have to be the case. You can just sell off now in anticipation of the court case and other FUD at the moment, FUD sentiment, and the Lunar New Year sell-off, and maybe double your portfolio. If that suits your needs, obviously do that. What you can do, by the way, before I forget, if you head over to quantitative, you head over to quantitative on, it's a little banner on gate.io, you can start to follow strategies of other traders. Really cool. So you got traders there who are on the leaderboard, who are scoring very highly based on their P&L, their profits and losses. And obviously you want to follow the people who make the biggest profits, so you can follow their strategy. You can check what their strategy is, you can invest an amount of money, and then basically you're playing into a sentiment that this group of traders are doing really well, and that can give you some exponential gains. If you don't know what you're doing, right, it's common sense to just do nothing, to just wait for the market. Remember and think of your long-term conviction for the future. Lower your time frame. You don't need to have that your savings, your investment, your assets tomorrow, because then you shouldn't have invested it in the first place. And then realize that this is just another cycle. It's another cycle where historically same things happen. The only different dynamic now is that there's so much institutional interest. There's big money. We've got $1 trillion market cap. Pension funds are allowed to join. They're allowed to partake in Bitcoin holdings. There's going to be Bitcoin ETFs. There's going to be more Bitcoin adoption. So it's definitely a different dynamic. But markets are cyclical, as they always are. They just might be cyclical over a longer period of time. It might not be based on the halving and the past performance of the halving, but it might be based on how well the global economy is doing, and the last huge dip was unforgettably in 2008, 2009. Not that the economy at this moment, the global economy is so stable at the moment, dollar is losing purchasing power, euro is not doing great either, but we're not seeing this super established global crisis or recession yet. It's not what's being told or sold to the general people. So that's something to keep in mind, because crypto is definitely not decoupled. It's it's definitely related to what happens in the global stock market. Biden will get into office on the 20th, I believe, and up until then there will be some social turmoil. That's also going to influence the dollar. It's going to influence crypto. Basically, crypto is a very complicated asset to understand, but the technological features of Bitcoin and a lot of crypto-related projects are so clear. The value proposition is so clear that you can ignore all the macro, and then just trust that there's a lot of potential upside to be had. All right, guys and girls, if there are any girls, hope everyone has had a great day, great weekend, and I hope everyone has a great week. Feel free to reach out to me in my DMs on Twitter or on LinkedIn, whatever you know is comfortable to you. My Twitter handle is Patrick @PatrickVelleman, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Hope everyone has a great week. Stay safe. Do your own research. Don't read too much into the FUD, and just do lots of reading this week, guys. Bye.